Program Consulting, his own firm, really helping to develop solutions with our government, which is amazing. I'm sure you have lots of good stories with that.
We got some solutions we like to pass through.
I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly. And then Teresa Metcalf, of course, Director of Business Attraction at Colorado Springs Chamber and EDC. And Miss Jean Turner, thank you so much for coming with the Salvation Army here in Colorado Springs. She's a communications director. So welcome, everyone.
Yeah,
Oh,
thanks.
that sounds so high level. Are we even worthy to be in the room with these guys?
I know. I'm like, woo!
No. Once you get off your knees, we can start the show.
Yeah.
But anyway, one last person that we always have to introduce is the amazing Christopher Roberts with
Yes.
Pro Media, who is streaming our show live on Facebook and on our YouTube channel, as he always does. He does such an incredible job. Reach out to Pro Media for all your video and promotional needs. Make some great videos for you as well, so that you can get out to the public.
Yep.
Lisa,
Absolutely.
who do you want to start with?
I think Teresa. Yay. So, are you the only one in the room who has not touched the Air Force world like we all have in regards to, being married or having done active duty or anything like that?
Correct. So I was actually raised in the Republic of Panama, so surrounded by military most of the time that I grew up, but I don't have any connections as far as marriage or work within the Air Force or the military. So
Okay. How did that come about? You being there?
my dad actually was one of the civilian employed with the government to work on the Panama Canal.
Really?
Yeah.
That's some rich history.
Yes, it was an incredible place to be raised, and I just feel very blessed that I had that opportunity.
That's
Yes.
incredible.
Yeah.
Wow. And your duties right now, Teresa, right? Yeah, I call my wife baby so I don't jack it up. Right. So I'm glad I wrote down your name, right?
You're making Trevor nervous over there. He's like, man, keep it professional. I got high level people in the room.
All right, I'm back.
Okay.
All righty. Teresa, you're with Colorado Springs Chamber in EDC.
Yes.
Tell us about some of the work you're doing there.
Yeah, so I was fortunate enough to start with them in September. So guys, I'm a low speaker, so I need to get a little bit closer to the microphone. So I started with the Chamber and EDC in September of last year, and I'm the director for business attraction. So my focus is primarily looking outside of El Paso County and outside of the state of Colorado for opportunities to recruit businesses into Colorado Springs.
How do you do that? Like, what does that look like?
A lot of what we do is through connections, which I'm very happy that I was connected with Trevor early on in my time starting with the Chamber and EDC. So I would say first and foremost, it's with those personal connections that then develop into opportunities to go out to other states and visit through symposiums or forums or conferences, some that are very specific to target industries where we actively meet with companies that are growing and have the potential to choose Colorado Springs as their home.
Wow. Yeah, so what were you doing before, since you've only been with the EDC and Chamber since September?
So prior to that, I was the deputy director for a much smaller community in Central Texas.
Oh.
So I worked with Kerr EDC in Kerrville, Texas, and I was with them for a little over 6 years. And so we had the opportunity to come to Colorado Springs, which is our happy place. We love it here. And when the opportunity presented that for my husband, I followed and was able to continue to do some remote work with the EDC. And then when this position opened at the Chamber in EDC, it was just really a perfect match. And I was very, very happy to be able to call this really permanent home. We're not traveling back and forth.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We're so glad you're here.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to be here.
What does your husband do?
So he actually is a trade development manager for Southern Glaciers Wine and Spirits. So he actually works. I know it's a mouthful, right?
Yeah.
I thought Colorado Springs
You have to
Chamber and
practice
EDC.
that.
Yeah. So he works for an alcohol distribution company.
Okay. Yeah, we seem to have more of those recently.
Mhm.
Or am I just becoming more aware
No,
of the
that's-
need to drink?
No, I think no, but it's a big business,
It's
so
a big
yes.
business. I know you know.
Yes, I love wine and champagne. I lived in France for a couple of years in the Champagne country, so
Oh, wonderful.
when you mentioned wine, I'm
Yes.
like, oh. And the other night, talk about wine. I just have to add this in. I forgot the taste of really good French wine,
Mm,
but it was like the other night I had a glass from a region that I lived in, and it was
where
incredible.
did you do that?
Épernay.
Where?
Épernay.
What?
It's where Mont Chandon, Mercier, all the big champagne houses are at. And yeah. But anyway, there's a big difference between American and French wine. I forgot until I had it the other evening, and I was like, whoa. It was like taking me back years to home. Yeah, it's great. Just saying.
Terry, how are you?
Am I the only wine connoisseur in the room?
Evidently.
You are not.
Okay,
No,
thank
you're
you.
not, Trevor.
Speak up, people.
No, I do love wine. I do
Oh,
love
you
wine.
do love wine.
I
okay.
just, I'm thankful that I have a husband that's very knowledgeable, so I don't have to learn all of the ins and outs of it.
Okay.
He
Yes.
helps me select the right thing to drink all of the time, which I am super grateful for.
And if he's ever out of town, you can call me
Okay,
now.
definitely. We can go wherever you drank that French.
Yes, we will do that.
Oh, wow.
Trevor, do you have any take on wine?
No.
Okay. he's like the canary with the feather out the side of his mouth.
All right. Yeah. Well, now that we've been aptly diverted,
Yes.
uh, this is why we have Lisa on the show,
Yes.
right? Right. A connoisseur wine plus. Trevor, we really want to know about you, my friend. Give our community a little bit of background of who you are, where you are right now, and what was the pivoting point for you starting an organization that you lead now?
Yeah, no, those are great questions. Thanks, Frank. So I will say my love for Colorado started in 2003 when I first was stationed here as a member of active duty Air Force. And that was the first of 3 times that I lived here in Colorado Springs. Now, I grew up on the Nevada side of Lake Tahoe, just on the outskirts of Reno. And I've always been a mountain kid, loved it. And so as soon as I got a chance to see the Rockies and experience that and live here for the first time, it was amazing. And I fell in love with the Front Range. Now, I will tell you that I didn't really trade the Sierras for the Rockies, but I'm really glad I did this year because they've been getting pounded with
Yes.
snow and floods and everything
Oh,
else.
yeah.
But the great part about being in the military, and you know this, is you get to see the entire world and many of the states, and then you get to pick your favorite to be your home forever. And so I knew early on that I would always end up in Colorado Springs. So with intent, I moved here again in 2019, October of 2019, a couple of years out from my retirement date. So when I retired in March of 2022, I started my own consulting company, doing not unsimilar work or dissimilar work to what I was already doing on active duty, which is working kind of at that leading forward edge of technology. And I knew I wanted to stay in that. I know that I have so much more fuel left in the tank, and that I really want to get our warfighters, those service members, I want them to be as effective as they can so that they can all come home safe and be effective and lead with honor and all of that. And so starting Summit Advanced Program Consulting, it was a natural calling and a natural fit for me. It's taken me in some places that I wasn't really expecting, like getting to work with the chamber and EDC and getting to work outside of what is traditionally done in, basements of buildings with no windows, and really get to go and interact with community leaders. Like I said, with the chamber and EDC, with the city council, with the Colorado Department of Economic Development and International Trade. It's just been so rewarding. And then when you get to, and I also mentor a lot of transitioning veterans, and I tell them, work from the target back. Do your lifestyle design first, and then walk backwards from that. So I knew I didn't only want to do for-profit work. And so, it was also with intent that I started getting really involved in the local community, especially in the nonprofit sector, which has led to some of my leadership positions within the Salvation Army and others.
I do O2O, onward opportunity. I do a session there once a quarter for transitioning veterans. We have 50 to 70 people in the class. Matter of fact, next week I'm doing for O2O, one of my most favorite. You came to the class with me last time I did it. And were you ever in there? Because
That's right. Yeah. So I was in cohort 19. That's right. That's when we first met.
Oh,
Yes,
wow.
And that's how I met Joe Aldez.
Yeah,
And you know, we have a lot of really great things we're working on now with the Hispanic Chamber as well, and with the Adelante Leadership Institute.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so I also speak. I don't get my own time slot. I'm on the alumni panel the next day. But I'll tell you what, it's still so rewarding. I get a lot of great connections. I do a lot of coffees after that. And it's nice to be able to pay it forward.
Yes.
Isn't it? It is. We go through so that we can help others who are coming through, right? That's the
Yeah.
point.
Mhm.
Yeah. So thank you for the great work you're doing. It's so awesome seeing people that you connect with at different levels and stages of their lives blooming in our community. And thank you for being one of those, my friend.
Oh, it's my absolute pleasure.
Right on. Young lady, you know you're amazing.
Thank you. You might be the only one who says that.
Lisa says it.
Yes.
Yeah, this is
Miss Jean.
Miss Jean Turner with communications for the Salvation Army. I have roots there as well. I used to come and speak to the guys in the transitional program at the Salvation Army as well. When it was over, I think on Wasatch or whatever, that building used to have a thrift store there as well next door, and that all closed down. So tell me what's going on with Salvation Army.
Wow, there's a lot. So that's why they have a communications director.
Yes.
That's right.
Because I have the job of trying to tell people what the Salvation Army does. Because, you know, people, you see this shield. We actually have one of the most recognizable shields in the world. We're in the top 5, I believe. We used to be number 2. And so everybody knows the shield because we're in 138 countries. We're the largest social service provider in the world. But how do you make that local? You know,
Yeah.
people think, oh, yeah, Salvation Army. But they have no idea what we do because we do so many things in so many different communities that it looks different in every community. So here in Colorado Springs, wow, we do a lot. We do a lot. So kind of boil it down into 3 pots because that's all people can usually remember. We feed people, we shelter people, and we help restore hope to people, basically.
I love
So,
that.
Oh my! Can you drill down a little bit, particularly on that restoring hope piece?
So it's great. It's so fitting for today, your
Yes.
Hope Monday,
Yes.
because that is what the Salvation Army is all about: is meeting people right where they're at, and then just looking at, hey, how do we get you out of this situation? So whether it's homelessness, whether it's addiction, and the facility you were talking about on Weber Street,
Mhm.
that used to be our adult rehabilitation center.
Yes.
Yeah, and that closed in about, I want to say 2012 or 13.
Yes. Long time
And
ago.
so it is a phenomenal program that the Salvation Army still does nationwide.
Uh-huh.
And so so there's different parts of the Salvation Army, and the thrift shops fund that whole program. So the proceeds from the thrift shops, and we have a thrift shop over on Tut. So if we have folks here in Colorado Springs that are looking for a drug and alcohol rehabilitation, we send them to other states. A lot of times they have a 6-month in-residence program. So that program still exists, just not here in Colorado Springs.
Why did it leave Colorado Springs?
Funding. I guess
Ah.
it was just couldn't sustain here in the
Couldn't
Springs, which is
sustain it.
so sad because I think that's one of the services we need so much more: mental health and addiction services here in the Springs. So unfortunately, it did close here in the Springs, but we still send people to our programs throughout the nation, and they have a hugely success. So anyway, on that note, we don't have that program yet, but we do have. So for example, like homelessness. Right now, to meet the needs of the community, we recently, if you've been watching the news, just transitioned the R.J. Montgomery Center into the R.J. Montgomery Center Hope Center, Family Hope Center. And it's now family sheltering only because that was the need of the community. All the family shelters closed, so we're the only family shelter. And now the single men and single women that we previously sheltered as well are all going to other places. And
Springs Rescue.
Springs Rescue. And that's the great thing about Colorado Springs
Mhm.
is that partnership with other
Yes.
agencies and stuff.
Oh,
We
yes.
all communicate,
Great.
work together, make sure we're all meeting the needs and filling the gaps. So that's what we did with sheltering. We came in, stepped up for family sheltering. And that's what we're doing there. We also have a big veteran program, one of the biggest and most successful in the state, the
Wow.
Veteran Transitional Housing Program. And
We
then
need to
feed,
have her
you know.
come speak.
Oh yeah, there's so much. I mean, I could
Yeah.
occupy this whole 45
Yeah.
minutes on just what the Salvation Army does. So
Yeah.
last year we served 1 in every 15 people in El Paso County with some type of service.
Say that again.
1 in every 15 people. That's 56,000 unique individuals. So that doesn't count if we served them 3, 4, 5, 6 times.
Right.
So yeah, our reach is big, and people don't even really know it. They
We
don't know what we do.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I knew the things that you did, but I had no clue that your reach was that extensive. That's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lisa and I both, I'm the president of VetNet, and Lisa is our speaker coordinator. So she coordinates all the people that come to present to VetNet, and because it's the premier networkers of business veterans that own businesses in our region.
Yeah.
Right. So we meet every Tuesday. So definitely we need to have her come
Absolutely.
and speak and tell people about what you're going, and these other two humans as well.
Right now we're in the fall, but we can swap dates, ideas, and stuff, and I'll get your contact.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the services for veterans are amazing.
Yeah.
that we do.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
They need to hear that and know it. Yeah.
Indeed. Well, big veteran community here in Colorado Springs. Teresa. Yeah, Teresa, looking at Colorado Springs, who wouldn't want to engage in a city like this? What an incredible city we live in. In 2019, before we went into COVID, we're on 59 lists for environment, great environments, and top 10 25 times, in the top 2 25 times, in the top 10 42 times for lists, including the best community in America for women-owned businesses. Right? What say you about the environment of Colorado Springs, the opportunity to build business here, and what you're excited about?
Yeah, so I think I'm actually a perfect example of that, right? I came to the community to visit family and friends, and then I thought, oh, this is definitely where we want to be long term, and then worked to get here. So I think that's a story for a lot of people, aside from the ones that were lucky enough to be born here and remain here. So I think the outdoor, the quality of life, quality of place is a huge interest, obviously, and a huge proponent for why we're able to attract talent, but also to retain the veterans that have the opportunity to come here. You know, we see over 300 veterans transitioning from the military on a monthly basis.
Every month.
And we work really hard with those through our different partnerships, the collaborations that we have, to make sure that they have the opportunity to remain here and to find a home here, and great opportunities to work in so many of our incredible, innovative businesses. So I think starting a business, no matter what your background is, again, we have just incredible partnerships. You have incredible consultants that can work with you and develop you, looking at your business plan. Chamber and EDC works with the Small Business Development Center here locally to help with that. So the list goes on and on of the opportunities and the people. Catalyst Campus is one of them, Exponential Impact. So
Yes.
those are all just incredible resources for people that want to start a business, but also, again, the people that are transitioning out of the military to have an opportunity to have an impactful career here in Colorado Springs in some really innovative businesses.
Yeah. One of the top SBDCs in the nation resides here in Colorado Springs. In addition, yeah. So we have so many forward-facing opportunities with people and organizations that help people in a very distinct and very incredible way. Why wouldn't you want to come here?
Exactly.
It's an easy sell. Let's just put it that way. It's a pretty easy sell.
Is that what you experience when you're?
Yeah, I think as far as economic development goes, some of the struggles that we have that we're seeing across the nation is in economic development specifically is, what are the clusters within your community? How do you work with the clusters that are existing? But number one, I would say across the board nationally is your talent pipeline. And again, people want to be here. A lot of times what you're seeing now after COVID is people going to the areas that they want to live and then figuring out how they're going to stay there and live there,
Indeed.
what job they're going to get. And Colorado Springs, like I said, we've got the 5 military installations that we partner with. We've got Catalyst Campus. We've got Exponential Impact. All of this just creates this wonderful ecosystem for not only talent, but for businesses to really thrive.
I don't want anyone to be confused when you use the term cluster. Explain, because not everyone is going to understand
Yeah.
what that means. Okay?
So, yeah, in economic development speech, cluster is, a congregation of similar type businesses. So you look at Colorado Springs, obviously for many obvious reasons, one of our clusters is aerospace and defense. And so again, it's just a matter of not only working to help our existing businesses within that cluster, but also to help them through looking at their supply chain or challenges within that supply chain. How can we feed them, bringing in new business into the community to resolve some of those challenges within their business. So that's another aspect of business recruitment. So not only are we looking at those main tier 1 businesses within that sector, but we're also looking at helping them overcome some of their challenges in logistics, distribution, warehousing, supply chain.
How many tiers are there?
Well, typically when we're talking about businesses, we're looking at like tier 2, tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. And that just means that they're at the top of that industry, right? So they're a direct supplier. And then tier 2 would be that they're supplying the tier 1 and so on and so forth.
Right. Yeah. I just want to clarify these things because it's easy for us to talk our own language within our own.
Isn't it?
Right. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and people outside are listening to this show don't get it. Right.
Yeah.
So, because they're not in your space all day like you are. So that's the reason I continue to drill down and try to make sure those things are clear.
It's a great reminder. When I started economic development, this was not even a career path or an opportunity that I knew existed. And so when I started as an admin assistant and worked my way up. And I think one of the biggest challenges was learning all of those acronyms.
The lingo.
Yeah, the lingo is a big thing. So it's always nice to have a friendly reminder that.
Actually, that's a perfect segue. I was going to ask you about your past. Like, how did you get to be who you are today? Where were you raised? Can you share a little bit? I know you shared it before we started the show, but I would love to hear more on where you were raised and what schooling you did, what brought you to where you are today.
Yeah, so I was raised in the Republic of Panama, so I went through Department of Defense dependent school system in the Republic of Panama. And then much like most American citizens that were in that country, once you graduated from high school, you have the opportunity to do 2 years of college. But then after that, your options are pretty much limited in having to move back to the United States. So I followed that path, just like so many others. And oddly enough, once I got to the States, I was struggling to figure out really what I wanted to do.
So how was that with the culture? Like once you landed in the U.S., how old were you?
So I was 19 when I moved permanently back to the United States. But, we had the opportunity to come and visit every other summer on family leave. And so the United States wasn't new to me.
Oh, okay.
Florida was. That's where I ended up moving into.
Hot.
But not in comparison to Panama. And so I moved in June, and then of course, fall and winter quickly arrived, which isn't terrible in Florida, but it was definitely much different than what I had ever experienced in my life. So long story short, college wasn't for me. I tried several different things, but just wasn't finding my place or my passion, and quickly realized that some of that passion was obviously being a mom. And so I focused on that for an extended period of time. And really how I found my way into economic development was through a mentorship opportunity. So I had a mentor in Texas, and the opportunity presented itself in economic development. And I said, wow, this is really cool, right? It gives me the opportunity to give back. So I have a servant heart. And it gives me the opportunity to give back to the community in an impactful way, creating quality jobs that are really, really important to a community. So we look at creating new jobs and new opportunities within the community that weren't there before. And so giving, single moms and, giving people maybe with not a highly skilled educational past the opportunity to have a high paying job with benefits.
That's great.
So every time we get a win in the community, it's not just a win for us in economic development. It's a win for all the families that are impacted by that.
You know what you just did, and we talk about infusing hope and encouragement into our community. Teresa, by explaining her background, how she came in, she's the director of business attraction for Colorado Springs Chamber of Commerce, right? And
Yeah.
EDC.
Yes.
And she said something that you may have missed as she was talking. School was not for me. Yep, and she still rolls to this space, and she's
Exactly.
doing things. You can hear the excitement in her voice, right? When she talks about what she does, because she's landed in space of design, right? What you were designed to do,
Yes.
Yeah.
right? And
I
where
agree.
you find the
Yeah.
most joy in doing.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, school isn't for everyone. That's not the end all be all to making it in life. It really isn't. So thank you for saying that.
Thank you.
And infusing that piece into our community as well, as people are trying to explore their way forward. And most get tripped up on this. Well, I don't have a degree. So I think that it ends for me. It hadn't ended for Teresa.
No.
Yeah,
and I
she's
had-
rocking it,
And
right?
I say that through opportunities, through other mentorship, specifically the previous leader that I worked under for Kerrville, gave me the opportunity to pursue education very specific to this industry.
Very
And
specific.
so finding that niche and
Yeah.
finding the education that was applicable for me
You.
was what really was able to then get me into just a broader scope of professional development. And so I've gone on to get certifications and all of those kinds
Oh,
of
of
things.
course.
But
That's awesome.
We know you're professional.
Oh,
Right. Yeah,
I just
yeah.
think I think it is important. This kind of goes back to mentors and meeting people like Trevor very specifically. Without leaders like this, without leaders like you that are working within the community to provide those opportunities for professional or personal growth, it can be a huge barrier.
Yeah, it can be. Thank you for
Yeah.
saying
Yeah.
that. Was incredible. It is. She seems to be a fan, Trevor.
Well, I'm a huge fan. I'll tell you, we partnered up on a project that we'll find out if the state and city approve to incentivize to bring that big project here to Colorado Springs. We'll know that here this week. And so it's just been an exciting time to grow our two, different portions of the industry together. And gosh, this will just be, I think, personally and professionally rewarding for both of us when this thing becomes a win. A couple of Fridays ago, we had the opportunity to go to the University of Colorado Springs, to the State of the Chamber. And Jonna, of course, who leads the chamber, gave a report, and some other leaders did as well. And gosh, it just was more aspirational for me personally. Like, I want to bring businesses like that,
Yeah.
and I want to bring families like that. I want to bring sustainable growth like that, and I want to, I want security. I mean, ultimately, and this extends back into the nonprofit portion, is everyone needs to be safe, fed, and they need a place where they can thrive. And in Colorado Springs, much like you were speaking about just a few minutes ago, it is an ideal community to do just that, and not just for some, but for all.
Yes.
Absolutely. You sit in a very, I think, not unique, but a very special seat in our city. So many people transition. You said 300 a month. Is that right?
Yeah.
300 a month transitioning from military into our civilian community. What say you to those folk right now? How do you offer some encouragement, some uplift to the people that are doing that, since you are not very far from having done that yourself?
That's right. I mean, I'll tell you what I tell a lot of the mentees as they're coming through, and it is what you've done in the service of our nation and for our freedom is just, everyone is so thankful for that. This entire community and the entire state and the entire nation is so thankful. So there's a couple things you have to do, right? it's different, right? But as you know, as all of us have been exposed to the military know, it's a team sport
Yep.
until you transition, and then it becomes a very individual activity.
Yes.
And all of a
Exactly.
sudden, the world feels pretty heavy when you don't have your brothers and sisters to your right and to your left.
Yes.
It's scary. It is. But I will tell you, don't devalue yourself. You are so worthy. We talked about education here just a moment ago. The skills and the leadership opportunities and the followership opportunities and just everything that you have learned in your time in the military for however long that was, 4 years, 10 years, 25, 40 years. It does not matter. You bring an immense amount of value and your community values that. So what you need to do is you walk backwards. You say, well, do I want to work as much or less than I was working on active duty? Do I want to spend more or less time with my family? What does sacrifice look like in this next chapter for me? And I'll tell you, the biggest vacuum for me was when you leave, you talked about a servant's heart. There's a lot of sacrifice and servant's heart in being in the military. And it's a vacuum when that leaves you. Because now what do I just go plug in and become a cog in someone else's wheel?
Yes.
And I'm just, and so for me, I traded service for charity. And I think everyone needs to, with a deliberate mind and a deliberate heart, understand how they're going to fill the void, that vacuum of service when they leave the military. There's plenty of money in town. People
Yes.
get too wrapped around how much money they're going to make. They get too worried about it.
Yep.
I think as soon as you decide that Colorado Springs or whatever community is your forever community, then that decision is made, and then you make it work. Kind of like we talked about before. Because there's nothing that we can't overcome. Every mission, just like we're trained to do, right? You work until the mission's accomplished.
Yes.
And so I would just say, I am so hopeful for everyone that's transitioning now and into the future. And if there's anything I can personally do, or anyone in my network can do to help and aid in that transition, please reach out. But this is a great community for transitioning veterans.
It is.
Absolutely.
Lisa, one of the things that I find for transitioning military people in specific is that we have such a compelling vision in the military, right?
Yes.
We're talking about life and death. We're talking about country security. We're talking about all of the danger and the touch points that we have to really engage in and be present in all the time because of what's at stake. When we come out, businesses don't create compelling visions for us, right? And it's difficult to walk across that path when suddenly you were in something that was so much bigger than you, into something that's not really clearly defined and helpful for you to step in and get excited about.
And there's a whole nother
Yes.
language to be learned too.
Oh,
when
yes.
they enter the civilian sector and trying to understand the differences. And
Yes.
Mount Carmel's good with that, with the education piece and
Very helpful.
everything. Yes,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you. Your work, what you're doing, who you are is incredibly important to a lot of people in this community.
Great role model.
Yes.
Thank you for
lot
that. I
of
appreciate
people.
that. No,
Absolutely.
it's my pleasure to do it.
Absolutely. Young lady, talking about mission, Salvation Army, and you trying to explain the scope. This is a compelling vision that Salvation Army has. Give us a little historical context around why you guys are doing what you're doing.
So to start with, Salvation Army is a church. And believe it or not, a lot of people don't realize that. They don't realize the word salvation actually connotates salvation, in a spiritual way. So we are a church. And so, of course, that is part of our mission is to preach the gospel and to, share that with people. It's not a requirement. We take everyone and, like I said before, meet them right where they're at. We began here in Colorado Springs in 1889. So we've been in Colorado Springs a long time. Yeah, we came to the U.S. The Salvation Army came from England to the U.S. in 1880.
Yes.
And within 9 years, it had spread all the way to Colorado Springs because they used to call us Little London. I don't know if y'all know
That's
that. A little bit of
right.
trivia.
Yeah,
A
yeah,
little bit of trivia. So yeah.
Can you explain that history, by the way? I heard that the other day and I'm like, Where is
Yeah,
that?
so
What is that?
We're called Little London because so many people from London would come here for the climate, and they would come here to recuperate from like tuberculosis and things like that.
The springs
Yeah,
in
and
Manitou.
all of the Manitou
Yeah.
Springs, all the
Yeah.
healing stuff here in the springs.
Yeah.
So there were so many people that would come in from London. We kind of just that's what they called us. There's actually some really cool newspaper articles calling, Little London and the Salvation Army, and we had a little bit of a rocky start here in Colorado Springs. Though it's kind of interesting.
No pun intended,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, Rocky. Yeah, just a little Rocky. Yeah, they didn't like us so much when we first started, and because the MO of Salvation Army back in the day was to have big bands. You've seen the Salvation Army bands. Well, they would play all this music and they'd get these big crowds. And then what better thing to do than feed and preach to the masses? And so we would get these big crowds and the police would disperse them and they would fine them. And so the first Salvation Army director here in the Springs actually died of pneumonia from being hosed down in the jail cell.
What?
I know, it was kind of crazy. It's a crazy history here. But now the community, of course, loves us. But yeah, it took a while. Like they did not like that. They said that, we were a disruption and the crowds were too big. And so our first, they called it the Salvation Army Barracks back then, along with the whole Army military thing, was on Colorado. It's like, I want to say it's Colorado and Tejon Street. There's a plate in the sidewalk there that said, they called it Hobo Row, and that was the first Salvation Army back in 1889. And so we have a super rich history here in Colorado Springs. And
Hobo Row.
Hobo Row, I know, right? How like things have changed now.
Is it still there?
It is. The plate is still there. So
Where is it
it burned down. I want to say it's on the corner of Colorado
And
Boulevard and Tejon. So it burned down.
I'm
with
going back
the-
that way. I'll take a
Yeah.
picture.
I know.
Oh my
I know. I should have a picture on my phone.
You
Just
have my
like,
cell phone too.
Yeah.
so that barracks actually burned down in the Antlers Hotel fire. If y'all remember hearing about that years and years ago. And so it burned down, and then now our main campus, although we have the shelter on Sierra Madre, which is right next to Switchback Stadium. And so, like I said, a temporary fix, obviously, if y'all have been down there with all the economic development.
Yes.
We know our time there is numbered. So we're looking to possibly build a family shelter on our campus. We have 4 blocks on Yuma Street.
Oh,
So it's
I
right
didn't
near
realize that.
Circle and Galley.
Yes.
And it's
Oh,
1
that
block
is.
west of Circle
Mhm.
and Galley. And we actually have like 4 blocks there. And that's where the majority of our work is done. That's where we have our food pantry. That's where we have our chapel. We have an after-school program that has 44 at-risk kids in it. And then that transitions to summer day camp once school is out and the kids are there all day. We also feed lunch and dinner there every day. So we feed about 400 meals a day.
Oh.
And we bring the food to the shelter from that kitchen there. And then that's where our veteran apartments are as well. So we have 23 veteran and family transitional apartments there. So that's our main campus. And then actually next to that, see, I told you we do a lot. There's also low income senior
She's just
housing.
bubbling over.
I know.
I love it.
Teresa was talking about like a servant's heart.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think all of us, like, you have that in you. And it's so, I would probably do my job for free. Don't tell my boss, but
Yeah.
because it's so
rewarding.
rewarding. It is, and you're talking about where Teresa came from and stuff. I'm actually a really rare species. I am a Colorado native.
Woo!
Born and raised.
Get your autograph.
Right?
Yes.
I was born in
Sign
Penrose Hospital, right? And so I grew up out in Black Forest and then married a military spouse and was gone, after I graduated from college for like 24 years. But and I'm jealous, Trevor. You got stationed here 3 times.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Yeah, we tried for 24 years and couldn't get stationed here once. You gotta
be in space.
I'm
Space world.
telling you, yeah,
Triangle.
something different than what my husband did.
Was he in Missile World or
No, he was a pilot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, they offered us places like Enid and Altus, Oklahoma.
Oh, there you go.
Listen.
Shout out to the people
And
from Oklahoma.
Omaha, okay, I love them all. I got kids born in all those states. Not say poor son, but my youngest son gets to say he was born in Altus, Oklahoma. So.
There you go.
And then my oldest was in Omaha, and I got one born in Washington. So all over. But anyway, I
How
think
many do you have?
just 3 boys.
Okay.
3.
All right. How many assignments do you have? A baby per assignment,
Okay.
right?
That was about 9, you know. We moved every 2.5 years. That's a lot of babies. It's kind of funny though, because you know, you have to gauge where you were depending on like how old the kids were, or
Yes.
which kid was born there. You know, you lose track after like
Yeah.
9 moves. But we came back. So we retired and came back here, back home. And I think that's when you really want to give back, and you really want to make sure that this community stays one of the best communities to live in the world, and all, and you know, all over. I mean, really, did you see Forbes magazine? We were listed as one of the best in the world,
Yeah.
which is
We
crazy.
just saw that new stat. We're like,
Yeah.
You know,
more stuff we get to do.
In the
in the
world.
world.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how
You
great.
should say that again.
In
for
the
listeners.
world, we are the best place in the world. In the world, but you know, that does come with these challenges as well, and that's where the nonprofits come in, because you know, yes, there's all this economic growth, and yes, there's some great companies and things moving in, but as that happens, housing prices rise and
Yes.
other challenges. And you know, I always say, being a native from here, like a lot of people don't like the change, but you know, you want to be a growing, thriving city, but with that comes, I call them big girl challenges. Like,
Mhm.
we're a big girl city now.
Yes.
We're not little Colorado Springs, and so we do have challenges of homelessness and, you know, jobs. It's hard to find affordable housing, all of those things, and hunger. You know, the cost of living. Our food pantry numbers have skyrocketed. This time last year, we gave out just over 600 food bags, and last month we gave out 1,400.
Oh, my.
So it's, you know, the cost of living is really, it's affecting
Yeah.
people, because we are a little bit expensive. You know, all
Yeah.
those great things come with some also some other challenges, and so that's where we as a community can really get involved and get back and try to help those that are struggling because of it.
But I've never heard of growth without pain. You know, you can do any organism that you want to look at. You know, that's why people don't want their kids growing too quickly, right? Because the pain that's involved in their growth and etc. That's why it's called growth pains. And we are experiencing those in spades and many times. We just want to have a city that's sensitive to these needs. We want to have a city that's responsive to these needs. And we want a populace that has hope in the midst of the pain points and the opportunities that are available for us in this city, even though we are experiencing pain, right?
And you know what, that is one thing that I do have to commend the chamber and, you know, all the nonprofits and people like Trevor. Amongst his whole list of accolades, he never mentioned he's actually on our advisory board as well. And so he's really giving back, and these community leaders that give back like that,
Yes.
they are, you know, we probably of all the 9, 10, 11 cities I've lived in, this city does do one of the best jobs about coming around, giving people hope, giving people,
Yes.
you know, meeting them where they're at, and giving them a hand up, you know,
That's
not
right.
a hand out, but a hand up. And
Yes.
I love that about our community.
Yeah, and we've always been that way. I get to serve on 4 boards of nonprofit organizations in the city right now. So don't try to
Just
recruit
I was
me.
gonna say,
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah, exactly.
We only did 4.
There's some more days in the week for you there,
Yeah.
Frank.
What?
10 days in a week, Frank. You got some time on your
Got
calendar.
some time now, right? Yeah, yeah.
we could use a couple of advisory board members.
Yeah, so it's wonderful, and you're so right. It's always been one of the great cities making social impact. Kind of the founding city for the Institute for Social Impact with the great Jonathan Liebert and the BBB here in the city, that's showing the rest of the nation the way forward in how you can have profitable business and make impact from a social perspective at the
Yes.
same time.
You know,
I'm
Frank,
so proud of this place.
I have
Yes.
I was at a networking event that was co-hosted between the BBB and the Hispanic Chamber last week. And to your point, the Better Business Bureau of Southern Colorado announced that for the first time ever, consumerism has changed. They're more interested in a socially aware company and putting their money with a socially aware company than they are over price.
Yep.
They
For
are.
the first time ever.
You
And
guys should listen to the Jonathan
Last
Liebert
week's show.
Yes.
And Jonathan
You've
Liebert.
got to listen to it if
I
you
will.
haven't already,
Yeah.
because he was on point saying exactly what you're just saying.
And we're at the epicenter of that.
Yes.
Colorado Springs gets it.
It's
Yeah.
so cool.
I'm such an early adopter of, because I don't know if all of you know, but I was a homeless guy when I entered the city myself 40 years ago now. And That's one of the things that creates the passion in me, because pain creates purpose. It does, always has, it always will. If you want to follow the natural course of a human's life, look for their pain point is how they build upon their purpose.
That's right.
It always is that way. It always will be that way. So I am really happy to be one of those people that you talk about that were in need of social services when I came here. Salvation Army and other people were there for me to engage in and create space for me. You take over, Kyle. Part almost makes me want to cry.
So, I can give a selfless plug here and tell people how they can give and how they can get involved.
Why don't you do that?
Thank you.
So, as Trevor was saying, we are looking for companies always to do volunteer, to do food drives, things like that. And so they can go to our website, which is helpcoloradosprings.com. How simple is that? Helpcoloradosprings.com. They can sign up to volunteer, of course, donate. And, that's the other thing about the Salvation Army, that although we are worldwide, we are local. Every single thing we do here in Colorado Springs and in El Paso County is funded locally. We don't get this big Salvation Army shield in the sky that dribbles money down. It all is funded locally. It's developed locally for our community. So it is really important for the community to know that and get behind us in our mission to help our community.
Tell them that website again.
Helpcoloradosprings.com.
Okay. And then is that listing like different volunteer opportunities, whether they're an individual or a corporation?
Yep, we
Okay.
have a thing of how you can help, and it talks about all those ways: corporate giving, corporate match, corporate volunteer projects. Like I said, food drives. There's so many ways that people can help. They don't all have to be on our board, like Trevor.
Yeah.
But yeah, just helpcoloradosprings.com, and then of course, make a financial donation that stays right here in our community. So
Right here.
right here. Doesn't go anywhere else. It helps our neighbors. Helps your neighbors.
And it sounds like it's needed. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, they just getting more and more needed as we experience these growth pains in our community, right? Thank
yeah.
you for the work you do.
My pleasure.
Absolutely. Trevor, I don't know how or what you would want to tell people in our community about, is there a reach out to you?
Sure.
Or is there, so tell them.
Yeah. So I'm doing a bunch of stuff, as you are too. And it's just great to share the table with all of you because, I think between us, our heart is for the city. But a couple different ways to reach out to me if it happens to be a tech type company that's interested in coming to Colorado Springs or expanding their offering here to the Department of Defense or, to include the Space Force or anything else that's here in Colorado Springs. I can be reached at sapconsulting.tech. And in the other part of my life, I recently started a Military Might Publishing. And so that's militarymightpublishing.com. That's specifically for the active duty members and their families to include their children. We're putting out a lot of books just for the use of them. So my first book is should be coming out by May. It's called Military Money: How to Thrive on a Government Salary, and it's just teaching financial literacy for families, and so just
That's needed,
specific to the military. And so that's fun. And then I have a kids book coming out before Christmas, just to inspire hope in military kids. It looks different when you are a dependent, right? And when but that doesn't mean that you can't aspire to just great heights. And so that book is called The Penguin That Wanted to Become a Seal. And and it's
I think I want to see that one.
wait to see that.
and to the illustrator now, my good friend out of Las Vegas, Lavana Colebrook. She's a first-generation immigrant, and all of her family members. She's the artist. All the rest of her brothers and sisters are in the military, and so it's going to be great. And all the money gets donated to the Navy SEAL Foundation and the Special Ops Warrior Foundation on that one. But no, it's just so fun. So any way to reach out to me. LinkedIn's a great way. Trevor C. Nolan on LinkedIn. But I'm just anyone that wants my help, I will find time.
Right.
I will say this about Trevor. I got to have a cup of coffee with him for the first time. And it was one of those where we were like, okay, we have to sit down a second time because there was just not enough time to go through. It's incredible. You're amazing.
Well, thanks for that.
Oh.
I'll have to get the link for this so I can show my mom this later.
We all love Trevor.
Mom, I'm amazing.
Yeah, listen to this. Yeah, I paid all these people at the table in Colorado Springs to say nice things.
Oh, yes. And Jean, Miss Turner.
No.
Yes, that's
Oh.
you.
Teresa.
Okay.
It's Teresa Turner.
You're
Whatever.
Teresa.
It's a Monday.
I'm looking.
And I'm a
Monday.
Trevor.
Turner.
Yeah,
Jean Turner.
and a Teresa and a Trevor. It's a lot of T's.
Yeah, it's a
Teresa
lot.
Metcalf.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
It's
That's
Monday.
okay.
All right. As always, people are always interested in what's happening at Colorado Springs Chamber, EDC, and et cetera. What would you like to say in closing to our community?
Well, a lot of times you hear about a chamber of commerce and you think it's solely membership driven. But I think it's really important for people to engage with us first to help understand what a chamber organization does. On the economic development side, because we are recruiting, a lot of those efforts are funded separately, and so we work outside of our scope of membership. But one of the benefits of being part of the membership is that you get some of that instant access to a lot of the wins that we have within the community. And you get opportunities to partner with people like Trevor, and of course our city partners and our county partners, and as well as the state. So I think, checking out our social media feeds, obviously, LinkedIn is a great way to connect with me. But our website has just such a wealth of resources and information for anybody at any stage of their business, whether they're just starting or they're looking to scale, they're looking to expand, or they're looking at trying to find how they can come to Colorado Springs and make this their business home. So start with the website first, and then anybody that is in the organization reaching out to us, our contact information is on that website. So we're more than happy to have conversations with you and get you connected within the community.
Indeed. Colorado Springs, one of the great transitory cities in America, in addition to all the other attributes of our city. So you need to reach out to the Colorado Springs Chamber, EDC, if you're new to the community, or you're just wondering what are the value propositions that they have for you, and they're out there. So reach out to all these fine ladies. You've been listening to the Be Encouraged Show with Frank and Lisa on Motivation Monday. As always, we're so glad that you would join us in our little space. What do you have to say, Miss InnovateSuccess.com?
Well, I hope everyone recovers from this daylight savings. I'm still feeling it, but
I'm feeling it too. Yeah.
have a great week, everyone.
You have a great week. Lisa and I will be back with you for hour 2 of the Be Encouraged Show with Frank and Lisa today. Once again, thank you to Trevor Nolan, Jean Turner, and Teresa Metcalf for being a part of our group this morning. We hope to hear all of the wonderful things that you're doing in our community and beyond. Thanks again for being with us.
Thank you.
Have a
Thank
great
you.
day.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to have Chris take
you guys
a
need report if you want to.
quick,
Oh, yeah.
if you don't mind.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right.
Flashers. We haven't got those years. We're getting there. So fun. So nice.
Yes.
Nice
Thank
meeting
you so much,
you.
Trevor.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I wanted to have you guys here. And then, Frank, I don't know if you have one of my cards or not, but if you care to take one.
I do. Thank you very much.
What do you do
You
with
guys
all your
sit
business
here.
cards?
I have a business card holder.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're categorizing them now because I get so many.
Is this your direct number?
Yes.
Actually, here, I'll get you.
Did you go to
Sit
University of
down.
Denver?
Oh, sure.
Did you go to University of Denver?
Uh-huh.
I just applied.
Absolutely.
Oh,
So
really?
I'm
Really enjoy
trying,
that. And what I'll do is I'll
I'm-
just send you an email.
trying to build up my PhD and start my fall. So.
Yeah. Very good.
Did you go to turn around here?
Yeah, okay. Here, I can stand.
Did you go to the business school there? Which school did you go to?
I went to your school. Yeah.
Bring it in.
Coming around.
All right, 3, 2, 1. All right, one more. 3, 2, 1.
Can we do one with my phone? So we-
Gotta get us standing up too, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, 3, 2, 1. One more. 3, 2, 1.
Thank you.
Move that stuff.
Oh, I love your socks.
Oh, thank you.
He's such a sock person.
I love weird socks. Kind of accentuates my personality. All right, bring it in here, guys.
We have no cameras.
I don't feel connected.
1, 2, 3. All right, we do one more here. 3, 2, 1. Perfect.
Good to see you. Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Now I know that.
Have a good time.
Thanks, Trevor.
Have a good one. Look forward to seeing you again.
So those are for you, especially for Mr. Freeze. So he knows what that is. Okay, that is like.
Oh, okay. This is for now. His talking point.
Yeah, so like these are just like quick notes right here. Oh, basically, this is see our sponsors right here. Your local resource for exciting, unique, kid-friendly events, family fun, and seasonal ideas. Our calendar is absolutely ridiculous. Anything kid
You know where the
involved
key to the bathroom went?
should be hanging on the wall or
It
might be on
was.
the table. You go double check. But yeah, just like that's funny, but that's basically her deal. She's the editor and publisher of
That's gonna be. This is a good lineup.
Yes.
We're gonna break. We're gonna break all of our videos down into shorts.
Okay.
The shorts and shorts are like the way to the future. I feel. So I know I do is I'm gonna have those long videos up there and just cut it down to 3 seconds.
This show. Isn't he awesome? He's our magic media guy.
David.
You remember me, right?
Yes.
I met you before.
Yes, right.
My husband. Where do we fit?
Oh, that's what now we know. Small world. Okay, now I got it.
All right. Here. Yeah,
Yeah.
we can here, so if
Yeah,
you and
that's what
DJ
you're saying,
want to
now I
go
got it.
here, and you can sit here.
Okay.
Perfect.
I get to sit across from you.
Oh, shit. As long as DJ sits next to you, that's all that matters to me. As long as he sits next to
You
you.
gotta
that's all
ask
that
the appropriate. We can have a really good time together, so it could be a
No,
good
we're
thing
gonna
or
be
bad
fine.
thing.
Just keep it
We're gonna-
PG, no cussing. We're on live
We don't
web-based
cuss.
radio. So
Yeah,
we're good.
delay.
We might do PG.
That might be hard.
That might be
You're
hard.
simultaneously live on YouTube, Facebook Lives. Like that's my magic man, Chris over there, which you already know. How do you know him?
We have done networking stuff together.
Yeah.
Oh,
It usually involves drinking.
Yeah, lots of drinking, lots of golf. Lots of fun.
That's where the best friendships come from, is the drinking and the hang.
Right on.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sage, for my country song. So Frank doesn't like country music, so we were teasing. So before he went to the restroom, which now I can talk about him again because he's
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
But he just doesn't feel the vibe of country. And I love country. You know, John and I dance to country.
Yeah.
We listen to country like it's my yeah.
Country's your jam?
Yeah, love country.
Not
Are
French,
you
though.
a hater?
I'm not a hater, no.
Oh, okay.
I love country so much that I love country so much that I'll have Morgan Wallen on regulators.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'll put them together.
Oh, okay. Well, he's Mr. DJ over here.
Yeah, I'll put whatever. That's how much I love.
We're just at. There's a new bar in Ellicott.
You can,
Really? There's a
There's
bar
only
there?
yeah. I was gonna say there's only one bar and one restaurant. It's the same
It
place.
is so
there a
busy.
dance floor?
There could be.
What are they doing out there?
There could be, and we like me and the owner are
We
now
will
like
be
in
there,
cahoots.
girl.
Let's
Ask him to make a
let's-
dance
What'd
floor.
y'all just do?
let's put something together.
Okay.
Off topic, we're gonna do something.
We're so doing that.
But we went on a Saturday night and they were doing karaoke, and in between they wanted to do like dancing, and it was the same thing. Like what I hear you play every time you're ready to get people out on the floor, like
No
hey,
joke. People know.
Yep.
People know.
no joke, it happened. Ugh, bigger. Hey, you want to?
You didn't think we were
Wanna
gonna
get
come
up?
friends this fast?
No.
No, I think so either.
Are we best friends?
He said no.
He said, nope. I saw you that night in the meeting, and I said, nope.
And I said, no, thank you.
Were you guys
Too
on a
much.
meeting somewhere?
Well, I'm a new board member of Pax Peak Suicide Partnership. He's the vice president. Yeah, so that's. I finally said yes. I may have to say no.
I
That's
know.
part of your
I can't say no to Cass. She'll hunt you down.
Yeah,
She
man.
will hunt you down. She'll hunt you
I'm
down.
talking about bandwidth, my friend.
I know. Well, everybody in this room is that way.
Yes,
That's why we're here.
exactly.
Not
The
a single
hustle
one.
is on, right?
Yes, not a single one of us is not a hustler.
I like your ring.
Thank
Our
you.
rules are polite.
You know, I was in Mexico. And you know when you're in Mexico, like totally annoyed by people, right?
Yes.
Like, leave me alone. Next time I go to Mexico, I'm
What are
gonna
you talking
have
about today?
bring things to sell to other people just because they annoyed the crap out of me. trying to sell. This was the most
And we need
incredible
either Domino's
salesman
or
ever.
cards.
He was
Listen,
so
we were
good.
talking about
I
this.
learned a lot from him. Yeah, just about how to work with people that don't think they want what you want. And he was so good. Like I'm not even
Just for
kidding.
fun.
He was incredible.
And everybody's wedding could be a
Oh, sorry.
This is Miss Sage.
Hi,
Sage,
Sage.
hello.
Welcome to the slide. When we go live, just make sure you project loudly into your mic. If you speak loud, you can step back a little bit.
Am I loud enough? Was our
You're loud enough.
Okay, good.
I'm probably loud.
You'd be like, whoa, 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 this
Yeah.
is Lisa.
Welcome to the show. If you can't hear yourself come out of there,
You
You
can
quite
only
fine.
use
You're
your DJ voice the whole time.
Right?
Frank, don't lean in. Frank doesn't have to lean in. I don't ever lean in because my voice projects. Like I don't have to.
We apologize in advance. This might be a good time. I don't know what's going to happen.
Why would you apologize for a
Well,
good
because
time?
whenever we get
Said
together,
nobody
it
ever.
gets to be
I
a
said
little
nobody
like
ever.
ridiculous.
Does he DJ for you guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
Ah.
Yeah.
Frank, you don't even know. Frank's like, who this guy? And I just talked. And I just spoke at church last night. I just spoke at church last night too. I did, I had a youth group, so I spoke youth suicide and stuff. Yeah, the youth group last night. It was like 300 students up in Castle Rock.
Oh, wow. Do you ever do the evenings?
Here, yeah, depending if they invite. I mean, it's all invite, right? The network that I have. So I'm networked with all the pastors here locally. So I train them in youth mental first aid, soul shop. I have a soul shop on Thursday. It's like almost suicide prevention meetings. So I talk about it from the Bible, like I talk from the pulpit, I pray about it. So, we go hard.
Yeah. Well, I was
Told
a
you,
youth
we're-
group leader for years at Women Valley Chapel.
Yeah, I train all of them. Kirby, Tyler, Woolley. I'm doing actually a meeting for them here pretty soon. I actually have a couple of their parents coming to another meeting. I've done their training like 4 times.
Have you gone to Life Church as well? Not New Life, but
Life Church. No, but someone from there is coming to my training on Thursday.
Awesome.
I have a training
Is
Thursday
that
at.
Pastor Josh? He's the youth pastor. Or maybe he's also got a mental under him as well.
Yeah, I don't know who it is. I'd have to look. I have almost 40 people signed up for the training Thursday. We're gonna be at where Discovery Church has their. Is that new venue?
Yes.
They're still the church that's made it venue.
Okay. 1 minute, Frank.
I'm gonna send you your. I'm gonna send the invite or reminder for lunch.
This is my lunch.
Invite tomorrow.
Hey,
Today. Later.
I never
I got it on my calendar.
Just go to the go.
DJs, so that'll be good. We have a lot of choices.
That's my biggest problem. On the weekends, I move into this wall out. And then I move out.
All these people sponsoring this.
Yeah. Soccer shots. They obviously gave the most money.
No, this is not innovationsuccess.com.
No. No, not yet.
Oh my goodness. Do I need to shut the door? Are we good? Oh, it's just because it's hot.
Oh, your Sage just got us. You'll do it all.
Sage has got it. I like your mix board over there, Sage. Looks good.
This is Frank's jam.
See? All of a sudden he became the host. That's when the song came on. He's like,
It's getting
ladies and
the groove
gentlemen,
now.
this is the after
He's
10.
ready. He's ready.
After 10, top 10.
Well, welcome everyone. This is Frank Sinclair, the Chief Encouragement Officer for Dream Again Business Consulting, welcoming you to the afternoon version of the Be Encouraged Show with Frank and Lisa. My partner Lisa Sennett is here doing her thing. She's incredible.
Thank you, Frank.
Yes.
Hi, everybody.
All right. All right. Can't ever get her to say yes, but that's all right. That's all right. At least one person here believes you're incredible, right? So we're so glad that you would join us today. As always, we're here to infuse hope and encouragement in our community by talking to wonderful humans in our community that have just diverse backgrounds and things that they're doing to infuse that. This is Motivation Monday, Lisa.
Yes, it is.
Motivation Monday. We follow the great Ron Young on our show today here at Family Flavors of Slide. Let me tell you about a couple of things that are going on before Lisa gets us right into the show. Family Flavors is hosting Macaroni Kid Colorado Springs present Find Your Family Fun.
Woo!
Nice.
Woo!
When
And
is
then-
this happening?
I think it's happening like May 6th, 23.
Ah.
May the 6th, 10 to 3 at UC Health Park, 4385 Tuck Boulevard. You want to be there. It's free to attend, open to the public. Hundreds of local businesses on site. Interactive engagements are available. So don't miss it. Give them a call here at 719-300-7936. And also next week, 3/20/23, that's March the 22nd. You and I are going to be a part of it, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
Homeless, Not Hopeless, Volume 10. It's also Phoenix, the owner of Family Flavors of Slide's birthday that day. This is the 10th edition of that great movement as well.
We're looking for volunteers for that as
Are we?
well. Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes, we are.
So if you want to volunteer for Homeless Not Hopeless next week, let us know. Lisa and I will be in attendance there as we reach out to our homeless community, hopefully helping with some hope quotient, right?
And you can message us directly if you want to be part of our volunteer team.
Message who?
You or I. Just message me. It's fine. Frank's eyes just went.
Lisa's getting into the bad habit of volunteering me for stuff. And
We're already going to be there, but if y'all would like to join us, no.
I think she volunteers with you.
volunteers me. Yeah. Once again, please go to Amazon.com, pick up a copy of one of my 3 books. Dream Again, Lessons on Leveraging Your Pain, Your Personal Life Coach, and Your Personal Business Coach are available. And in August, Your Personal Health Coach is coming out as well. Lisa, what's the name of your company?
Innovate Success.
.com.
Yes. That's how you reach us for your next project at home or at work.
Indeed. Indeed. And there's no one in our community that can connect you to reputable businesses better than Lisa Sennett can. So please go to innovatesuccess.com. And for your next home or business project, she has the person for you, absolutely free for you to reach out to her.
connections.
Yeah.
Not getting the project done. Let's just clarify.
Wait a minute. .com.
Yes.
.com.
What do you sign up for that free stuff again?
Yeah, exactly.
We all want to know where to go.
Yeah. Woo.
Yeah.
Lisa sent it at 719-888.
No, don't put it on the air again. I started getting weird texts on that. One day I do that. I'm like, oh, never again put myself on the air.
No.
Never.
Yeah.
All right. Woo! I'm having more fun than 3 people should be allowed to have,
Yeah.
We
right?
haven't even really started
We
yet.
haven't even started
That's
yet.
good. I haven't even told my best jokes yet.
Yep.
Oh, you haven't?
I'm holding back.
Ah,
Yes.
waiting for those. I'm telling you.
They're gonna be
Mandy
great.
Copeland.
They're gonna be great.
She rehearsed them and everything.
Oh,
She is ready to roll.
I'll hand off to you then. That's on. It's on you, girl. Go.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you, Mandy, being our panel host today. So I actually tasked Mandy with bringing in some amazing people who do give back and encourage our community here. And first of all, we have DJ Kobalan. Did I say that right? Kobalan? Kobalan. And her awesome
Wait a minute,
husband is
hold on
in
a
the
second.
house. You can't interrupt.
Kobalan. What the?
KOBILAAAAAAN.
Yeah, .com. Yeah, .com. It's .com.
.com.
.com. Okay.
DJ Kobalan.
DJ Kobalan.
Oh wow, this is gonna be a rough show. Okay.
It's a great show.
Woo! Okay, we're doing this. So anyway, power couple here in the house.
Yes.
They own 3 Chords Meadow, which is a wedding and event venue. Gorgeous. I have been there multiple times. It is so extravagant. What's the actual city? Is it?
It is in Colorado Springs.
It is
on the very enough. Frank, where are we
It's pretty
located?
far.
It's
Colorado Springs.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Kansas. Okay. Thought he
as
was
close
gonna
as
say
you
Kansas.
can get
It
to
felt
Colorado.
like
I thought he was
Kansas.
going to say it.
Yeah. There's no more
it's
trees
still-
after a while.
Yes.
But the meadow view is gorgeous.
Yes. But it still is in Colorado Springs.
Yes.
Shockingly.
Yes.
As much as you
It
can
was
believe it.
shocking.
But it's a beautiful venue. If anyone is going to get married or would like anything going on in their lives that just to party or have fun, it's the place to have it.
Write down the color of your car before you head out there. Because
Oh
it
my-
changes.
Oh my goodness. It's really not that far away.
No, we hosted my mom's 60th birthday there. Like, we got people to come out.
Yeah.
Like, it's a beautiful venue. It's a beautiful venue.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah.
Beautiful
Good
venue.
weather. Okay, anyway. Power couple, back to the power couple. They are also owners of Lighthouse Group, which is focused on health and life insurance. So for all of your insurance needs in that space.
And financial
Yes.
advice.
Oh, and financial
Financial
advising. Ooh, you gotta update that on your Facebook page.
It's not
I
on.
didn't see the financial advising. I could have missed it.
It's not
I was
Facebook
official.
official.
Looking at your, yep, if it's not Facebook
It's not
official,
on
it's not in
Facebook.
my
It's not
intro.
official. Okay.
Anyway, we're very excited to have you. And we have Mr. David Galvins in the
Yes.
house. Did I
Yes.
pronounce that correctly?
It's like Gaston, so Galvan.
Oh,
yeah,
see?
Like
Galvan.
See, it's like Kobalon.
Yes,
Kobalan. That's where you
okay.
got it. There's the. It's the Kobalan show now.
Oh my gosh.
Kobalan Galvan. We're here hosting Lisa and Frank. Can y'all tell us a little bit about what you all
Yeah,
do?
exactly.
I'm saying claw.
Sinclair.
Mr. Sinclair is in the house.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
I'm glad to be here with you all.
So I gotta say this, I cracked up. I actually had to write a paragraph on
Yeah.
this guy that you
Right?
brought to
I
the
know.
panel.
I know. He's just going to one up me on
Yeah,
all levels.
I'm
for
like,
sure.
what? When I
For
really
sure.
did a deep dive into
No,
David.
I was reading that.
I
I'm going,
mean-
what the blank?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who is this guy?
So David is the owner of the Galvin Collective. He's also VP of the Pikes Peak Suicide Prevention Board. I think he's got more things going on than you in regards. Wait till I'm done. Faith faith-based mental health liaison and member of the steering committee for the Suicide Prevention Collaborative of El Paso County, chair of the Connectedness Work Group, Youth Suicide Prevention Work Group, and this is how I met him. He is a DJ and an incredible
yes.
MC.
Thank you so much. Yeah, there's quite a bit on there, but the most fun is that DJ.
Yes.
The most fun is being able to throw a fun party. That's how we got connected over at Three Chord Meadows.
Woo!
And so if I can take all my DJ gear out there and have a party, you can be out there too. And so it's not that far out there.
Yeah.
We're going to make sure that's clear. Frank just doesn't go on that many trips. And so
Yes.
Not by car.
not by car. And so traveling out there is great because you can be as loud as you want.
Yes.
As loud as you want until the cows show up. And they will.
And
Every
they
now and
may
then the
just
cows
show up.
and the antelope will show up.
Yeah.
Really?
And you know you'll have a party out
Yeah.
there.
Have you had cats come through?
And the grasshoppers.
And
The grasshoppers.
Lots of stories. About
There's
the
no,
grasshoppers.
I've been to many wedding venues around here, and there's no better view for your actual ceremony and at the altar and how the trellis and everything frames Pikes Peak. No better view.
It
Like
is
you're not going to get a better.
breathtaking.
It is breathtaking
Yeah.
to see that. And it is so well laid out that you can do whatever you want out there and has a phenomenal time. So I'm just glad that I get to do that out at Three Chord Meadows and be a part of that party.
We have a pretty good time at weddings.
So, DJ, tell us, did you grow up there?
Talk to the DJ.
No, I grew up in town. I actually just a few blocks from here.
Okay.
My grandparents lived out in Calhoun, so I mean, being out east is familiar. But where we're at now is just my grandmother buying some land about 20, I don't know, probably closer to 25 years now. And so we just had a bunch of lots that my dad had left that he tried to develop, and so we moved out there. And we did not move out there trying to build a venue. That just kind of happened once we got out there. So
That's awesome. We're talking not just a couple acres, like, isn't it 40 acres?
around 35.
35 acres. Yeah.
Wow.
It's beautiful.
Wow. That's something else. 35 acres. I had something else I was thinking about while this guy was talking. Because I did a wedding last year in Penrose. And mosquitoes almost bit me to
interesting.
stinking death.
There's no mosquitoes out there at
There's no
Three Chord Meadows.
mosquitoes
No,
at Three
no,
Chord?
no.
Right on.
Just wind.
Yeah.
Just wind?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can
Not
deal
so
with
bad
that.
in the summer, but
Yeah.
It's just wind up there.
Lots of
I
hairspray.
said
for
the
brides.
first and last time I'll ever officiate a wedding in Penrose.
we have been to a wedding at like going to see different venues, and we've been to venues that the mosquitoes were so
Yeah.
bad that we left.
Yeah.
Really?
But
Yeah.
it can,
Horrible.
I know, it can create kind of a bad vibe.
No, but the best part about your venue is that like you all had your wedding there.
Oh, you had your own wedding there?
Well, sort of. We had it in our backyard when there was not a venue out there. So I mean,
Yeah.
Oh,
That's what
awesome.
inspired. That's what inspired the whole
Memories.
thing.
Yeah.
She wanted to start a venue because people liked it out there, and I was against it. And it took about a year or more of her convincing me, trying to do it. So
Women are good at that.
Yeah. Husband and wives never disagree on stuff.
no.
if I push hard enough, if I just stay relentless, sometimes it works out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why we're here today.
Yes.
So appreciate that.
You're welcome, everyone.
For pushing unrelentlessly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
To
awesome.
having a whole radio show about how much you guys agree.
Show turned totally different.
It just got like silent.
So it's now Dr. Frank on the Couples Therapy
Yeah.
Show. Come on.
Frank, don't you coach them?
I used to. They fired me.
Oh, you got fired.
Frank wasn't into weddings after he officiated. It's like, I'm not doing this wedding thing anymore.
Yep.
No, we did 6 months, and I think they got on the track. I think they kind of knew anyway where they were going and heading, and so and that's fine because you want to stay with someone and allow them to do that and get bearings around what it is that they're looking to do, and they knew that.
Mhm.
So
Wonderful.
I had a great time with these guys.
So fun.
Yeah, you can tell DJ, he's just full of life and vigor.
I'm the outgoing one. of
Is
these
he
three.
introverted or?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Nice. I mean, y'all are kind of opposite.
Oh yeah.
So adorable.
That never
100%.
happens either.
Yeah.
I've only met him when he's had a beer in his hand. So, you know,
Is he different?
yeah, a little bit.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when on there, I got you a beer before
Well,
we
where's
came
the
on.
fridge?
He said, "Where's the
We
fridge?"
were
I
talking
have a
about
glass
whiskey before we
somewhere.
came
Oh,
on.
yeah, you got
Yeah,
whiskey in your car.
Yeah, don't tell people I have whiskey in my car. Oh my goodness!
Yes.
All right, so moving along.
As a gift.
This is a family-friendly radio show.
Yes, it is. I think.
So I have a question. How did the Lighthouse Group, you two coming together as a couple, how did that happen? Because that's not always been this way. I've known you for years doing
Yeah.
your solo awesomeness.
I was gonna let DJ talk this whole time.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. Please don't. So I would say it was a couple of years ago, and with health insurance that I do during open enrollment, I'm starting to lose my ability to do it all on my own. So with his past work, he owned a business doing landscape irrigation for years, decades long. And he doesn't really have a busy season in the winter. And so that was the time that he would come on and help me to do that. And since then he, got his securities, life license. And instead of just, hey, let me help you with health insurance stuff, let's just increase what we can do for people and create a larger scope of what we can do in our business. And so that's what we did. We've been over a year now.
Yeah, the Lighthouse Group. Yeah.
Where that came from is, gosh, I've had lighthouses all over my stuff, but I've never really talked about it too much. So I read a book once. You probably have read that. 7 Levels of Communication or something like that, where it talks about being a lighthouse in the storm of questions. And if you've ever tried to get health insurance on your own, you realize it's really, really challenging to understand.
Yeah.
It's very expensive. You don't really know what you're up against. And so that was really my thought process in health insurance, is just to be the lighthouse in a storm, and to help people and guide them to what their best fit is. And so as we were thinking about a name, it was, I don't know, we could do Cobalan Group, but everybody butchers our name all the time.
Not you.
I don't know. That's weird.
You know I love you, though.
She just
It's not just you.
She just
That's-
1-2 knockout.
Yeah.
Totally just called
Wow.
That was awesome.
So our next episode is on forgiveness. We're going to continue.
Or grammar.
Or grammar.
Here's the thing:
Focus
is
on
I
phonics.
get what people mean when they say it wrong, and so I don't say. You
That's
probably
awesome.
get it too, because I've never been able to say your
Sin-
last name
yes.
correctly. Sinnot?
Yes, it's a thing.
No.
Sin not.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah, I hope.
Sin
Sin
not.
not.
Oh, I'm just getting that. You sure don't wield that one well.
These guys. I promise you, there is
Where is
no.
this
You're
going?
DJ laugh. Look at that. He's doubled over.
I promise you, this is a family-friendly,
We do
non-alcoholic
love each
show right
other
now.
so much. We have not been taking shots on it.
Oh my God.
Anyway, that was where the name came
Okay.
Wow.
Awesome.
from. In a short
I like
story.
that you said a lighthouse in the storm of questions. Now I figured out why you have me count, because Mandy and DJ are reps for our medical insurance for myself and my wife as being a business owner. And so they were able to walk us through the process. She's very patient, because I would miss phone calls and then have to set up another Zoom and all those pieces. But through that process was able to get us the insurance that we needed, and not just the insurance that we thought we needed.
Oh,
that's what was key about what you did. Like, I think you just put us in a place where you're like, hey, I think you really need this. You think you need this, but this is probably the better plan. And let's start here. And the incrementalism that you walked us through is so powerful that it gave us the opportunity to see a different perspective, knowing that there's a lot of things that are out there in the midst of trying to figure out health insurance. Because I was an employee, so an employee side, like I would have those benefits,
Right.
and so I never understood really what was going on in the back end because I was never part of those conversations. But when you have to do it on your own, that's why people like Lighthouse Group is so phenomenal, because they're able to walk you through that. And so now I figured out why you had me here today.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well,
Just to talk us up. That's
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, good. Did I do it right? So don't put the money on the show because they're.
What's your next gig?
it's funny in talking about this today. He's like, well, what are we going to ask? What are we? I'm like, I barely know where to go. So it's going to be great. You're going to do fine.
That's awesome.
That's right. We're not
right.
looking for another DJ.
No.
Your position.
You are
You're secure.
You're
The
secure.
position's secure.
You are in, bro.
Well, I will say this,
Cowbond.
on the insurance topic, one thing I do, because I'm out in the community a lot, I drive a lot, so I do have great insurance, but at the same time, I needed the accidental policy, which is
Yeah.
important, right? Because we're out so much and
Yep.
things can happen, even getting out of your car or walking across the street. But
Yeah.
when you're doing it all day, every day, it's just more exposure. So
Yeah.
that's why I appreciate. So people who still have awesome insurance, you still need to sit with DJ and Mandy. Just saying.
Yes.
Yeah, did you know that that's the reason you had him here?
Him? Yeah, absolutely. I always take him wherever I go so he can talk me up
Well, I've never seen him before.
in my little pocket.
She likes to surprise you. So surprise.
Ah!
I know. I was looking at our lineup today because Lisa's made it kind of a mission in life
Yes.
to bring people on here I've never met before.
Oh,
Surprise!
that's so
I already met him before.
I know.
Yeah.
Of course, on another board together.
Well, what I will say is, okay, so Dave is our DJ, whatever, but in that whole process of working together, has become family.
Yes.
And so I know that he'd do anything for us and vice versa. And I mean, it's just, that's when business is awesome.
Yes, and you guys are a dynamic team. I mean, I've seen you guys in action.
Yeah.
We went out there with John to do that dance lesson, and
Yeah.
it was a
Was
lot
it
of
country?
fun. Yes, you had us do what, two-step?
Yeah.
Or-
Two-step, yeah. We
Yeah.
did two-step,
We
and
did
then
two-step.
we did a couple of waltzes. Like you taught waltzing
Yeah.
as well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you do any Motown?
Motown, you got to do the smooth jams. You got to.
Yes.
You have to.
Did that mean yes?
Yes. The answer is yes. I'm not going to say yes. I'm going to talk around it. I learned from Lisa. I'm watching her. Frank, if we say yes, we're committing to something else. Okay. So I just say yeah. I'll play whatever hits, whatever music you want me to play. That's a true, authentic DJ.
There we go.
It's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Getting your jams.
Well, let's talk about your DJ space.
Yeah.
So I understand because I'm married to a DJ as well, but
Yeah.
there
I
are
was a
different.
DJ.
You were a
Were you
DJ?
What kind of DJ? There's
What
different types.
kind?
That's
Yeah.
that's what I
A
was gonna.
black one.
No, I think she asked the question.
Frank Sinclair.
Right. I think Frank.
There are
Frank,
different types of DJ. Now that I'm
Yeah.
married to one,
Yes, there are different types
there
of DJs.
are. There's
Yeah.
specialty ones. Like John is a couple dance DJ.
Yes.
So he knows all the songs for
I
waltz,
wasn't that.
all the songs for two-step.
Yeah.
all that. That's
I
like
wasn't
a
that
specialty,
one.
right?
Check
Yes.
that out.
And then-
Not that.
And then
Yes.
what's your special?
I was a drunk DJ.
Drunk
We have
DJ,
a
yeah. Break. Yeah, I could imagine the playlist that you would have at your wedding. It would be so
Children
sporadic.
friendly,
It'd be so
It was
sporadic.
all over the joint. baby.
Whatever you talk. Yeah, we would call you DJ can't stay on topic. And so
Yes.
I think for me, I tell people often that my role at an event is to be a great MC. I just happen to play music.
Nice.
And I think most DJs that play music often aren't the person that can actually make a moment happen with their language and with their words. And so I love being a host. So those like Jimmy Fallon's and Jimmy Kimball's and all those Trevor Noah's, like all those individuals that can just make connecting points along the way
Yeah.
actually change the entire event. And so for me is feeling that out as a host, but then also knowing what the vibe in the room is.
Yes.
What are they all feeling, and what are they all like laughing about, or what are they like? What jokes are good jokes to pull out? And so often as a DJ, my job is to like feel that and read that room. And I think that's why with life insurance and health insurance, like what do they need? I just do that on the DJ side. And what do they need music wise? Because I'm the soundtrack to their day when we're doing weddings in that process. Yeah.
That's great.
I'd never heard anyone explain DJ in such detail.
Oh yeah, it is an art.
It is an art.
It is an
And
art.
having other
You
DJs at
obviously
our
weren't
venue,
drunk.
100%. It is an art form.
Well,
It
I gotta
is.
say this though, because I've seen you two in action.
Yes.
And man, I mean, when it came time, because you know her.
Oh, yeah.
Like you guys flow like a real healthy team, and
Yeah.
you know when she's got to come up, and all right, we're doing giveaways, and
Yeah.
now we got to spotlight the bride or the groom or whatever, right? I mean, you
Right.
guys are on it. I love it.
Our goal is to any of those events. Like when you go to an event, you won't remember what you ate. You're not going to remember like even like some of the mistakes, but you will remember how you felt.
Yes.
And you will feel a certain way if you know people planned.
That sounds
And-
like a Maya
and so-
Angelou quote.
Yes, and it probably is, which also leads me back to that's
He reads a
why
lot.
that's why you should plan for life insurance and for insurance.
Look at
And
you,
so
just plugging it.
I told you I'm a host. And so I think for us as a DJ and our duo and the way that we work so well is that we know what we need to do to make sure that they're comfortable and they're available. And at the same time, make sure that the entire process is thoughtful about them. I like things to have order, but at the same time, I also leave space for life.
That's awesome.
And so as the DJ, like this is a side hustle for me. So like I don't do this full time. It's honestly a coping skill. It's so that I can go have fun. So I'll never make it a business. I just purely make it my recreational thing that I get to do. I just have to pay for it.
Yeah.
And so because of that, when I go into an event, I can put a smile on my face authentically and enjoy the moment because I'm like, I'm
You
just here to
love
have
it.
fun.
Yeah.
I'm just here to have fun. And if you pay me, that's awesome because you told me you were going to.
And tips are good too.
Tips are good too. But
So
I
we have
think,
an option whether to pay you or not.
yeah, yeah. And if I give you
Everything's
that,
a choice. right?
everything's a choice.
That's what I
Yeah.
tell my kids. Everything's a choice.
Oh my
He
goodness.
framed it that way.
He did.
Good.
I set it up perfectly.
You're gonna be getting a lot of calls
Every
from
time- yeah.
free DJs.
Frank, so
You
so
can put it on your list of
Three things that you offer.
Free DJ
Free
services.
connection.
Community, you're welcome.
oh my goodness. I think for us I think that's what's interesting because people ask me all the time, do you have a website? I was like, website. I have no website, I have no Instagram, I do nothing social media. But I have over 30 gigs this year that I have for DJing. And not a single one of them has come from a website. It's all come word of mouth.
Yeah.
It's all come word of mouth or someone got my phone number from some event.
Well, that's how this town works, right?
Yes.
It's all who you know.
But I think that's what makes
I think I use both. though.
you could. And here's what I'll tell you though.
Look at reviews.
My
Yeah.
word of mouth, the moment that I get, I'll get people to say, hey, I heard from you from so-and-so.
Yeah.
And I have a 98, like I think it's 98.7. I did the math the other day, close rate of the event.
Nice.
Like
98.7.
Yeah. So there's only a couple that haven't because it didn't work out because of timing, or maybe it didn't work out because they're like, oh, we actually had this other thing we needed to add, and that wasn't available, which is totally fine. And I said, I'll take a 98.7 close rate any day.
Yeah.
And I go, but that's word of mouth. That's why things like this, like podcasts and things like talking about people like Mandy and DJ and the work that they're doing both with their health insurance, life insurance, as well as the wedding venue. I'll literally tell people all the time, like I will recommend Three Chord Meadows first
Yes.
at any venue. I'll go to any venue and DJ if
Yeah.
they let me, but I will recommend this venue first. And
Yeah.
only because if you're doing an outdoor wedding, that is the best place. I've
It
done a
is.
lot of venues here. They have power out there. They have a real bathroom.
Yes. they
Most
do.
outdoor venues do not have a real bathroom. They have 2 real bathrooms. They have an entire bridal suite, and they have an indoor barn. So if it starts to rain out there, there's stuff that's going on. But nobody has the majestic barn doors they have that open up
Yes.
to the peak view that creates such an eloquent moment. And so I think when we talk about wedding venues and we talk about these places, I've been to almost every venue here locally.
Well, I will say this, Mandy, knowing you for all these years, that your number one thing is customer service. And when you are looking for partners such as Mr. David here as your DJ, you take pride in that. And
Oh,
when
sure.
you've had the bad and the ugly at
Yes.
certain times. And
Yes.
I've heard, but once you find those gems, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Because that's the experience that they want, right? And that'll keep people coming and coming.
And that's one of the things that, as I'm training somebody to be a venue manager at this point, is to really, that is what makes us us, is we are getting in there with the bride and the groom and the family. We do know them by their first name. We do know the little bits about their family, and they can see that we're like family too. And we just want to have fun with their day.
Yeah.
And we celebrate with them. I cry every single time my kids make fun of me.
That's true.
I cry every time I open the doors for a bride and her dad. Every time. And they're like, everybody stares at me like, oh, she's doing it again. But I can't help it. Like, you get to know this family, and that's such a special moment that we get to be a part of. And we get we have discussions with the crazy aunts
Yes.
and the uncles that just want to go home.
Yeah.
And all of the people that are trying to serve minors.
Yeah.
And
I think I think that the coolest thing about the venue that you all own and what you all do is that you really do make it a family experience.
Yeah.
You make it a family experience, and it's welcoming.
Yeah.
It's not corporatized at all. It is done with the flexibility that people are people.
Yeah.
And it's not done in a way where if you go there and you're like, this rule, and like, we got to follow the rule, and like, in the sense that like, if you do this, then we're nickel and diming you along the way. No, there's an experience that you're going to get at Three Chord Meadows that you won't get somewhere else. And if that's the type of experience you want, they will give it to you.
Yeah.
And that's what, I mean, I think, and I can say this honestly, I think I can say this about both of you, even in the life insurance side, is even when we talked about health insurance, like we went that process, I felt like, oh, they're just like looking out for me. They weren't like trying to sell me on something.
Exactly.
And I think that's like key about the dynamic duo that you all are, in the sense that it's built relationally. It's not built, you're not another consumer, and you're not another number for them to benefit off of in that process.
Good. Thank you.
So, David, on a more personal note, what about your wife? What does she do?
Yeah.
Are you home much? I mean, look
Yeah.
at this. I'm like, does she see you? Who is she?
She gets the benefit from all the things that I get to do. I travel often, so wherever I go, she's coming along. She's like, I just get to come along for the ride. This is awesome. And so she's actually in school right now for her master's degree in counseling. And so we want to actually start a neurofeedback practice for individuals and be able to give back. This is a process that's not well known yet, but has a lot of good outcomes that they're working on right now. And so we hope that as she finishes her master's degree, we can actually begin that business. And that's why we built the Galvon Collective, because if my daughter wants to build a business, or if my wife wants to do it, we can come under that umbrella of the Galvon Collective. And so it's a family-owned, family-operated type of thing for us, whatever that venue is. And all of it, a lot of our work's around mental health and suicide prevention.
Oh my. Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
Why is that? In 2016, we lost 10 students to suicide in our community in 2 weeks, and it rocked our entire city. I'm a native as much as I can be. I got here when I was 8 years old, and so I'm a District 11 kid, and I grew up. There's only one high school in this city. It's called Doherty High School.
Oh,
My
And
kids,
it is.
my kids went there.
Yeah, it's the high school. But when 2016 happened, I was working for an organization that we had some really good equity in schools, high schools primarily. And I was like, we can't have this happen about our city. Like, we can't. Like, we got to do something. And so we began a process. Very quickly started becoming part of the Youth Suicide Prevention Work Group of El Paso County. And then in the midst of that, became serving on the steering committee. Anytime you do government work, they always want an action plan.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, I got 2 steps for you. At that time, I was leading the faith-based subgroup. I was like, number 1, we're going to get everyone trained in youth mental health first aid. And number 2, we're going to connect them to schools. And so we started that process. And I've just seen the work continue to happen. Suicides were reduced in 2021 and 2022. We're seeing an uptick right now, but that means that work's not done. That means I got to continue the process. And so I'm individually impacted because my sister had a suicide attempt. And she's got 4 girls. That was prior to her having those 4 girls. And one of those 4 girls is like my favorite niece, and everybody knows.
Yeah.
And I go, could I imagine a world without that niece if my sister wasn't here?
That's
you
the
know?
story, my friend.
So that's where, for me, like, that's the person that like does that. And then I have numerous individuals that have lost to suicide along the way.
Yeah.
And my hope is that we can provide hope. I think the Galvon Collective has 3 principles: to provide help, healing, and hope. And that's it to our community. And I think at the end of the day that people, and the statistics and stories will show you, but people die by suicide for many different reasons, but it often comes down to a loss of hope and a loss of social connection.
Yeah.
And I think we need to know what that looks like. And hope is actually real. It's incarnate. It's a real thing. And it's when people come together and to be there with each individual while they're suffering the darkness of what they're going through. Hope is available.
Yeah. Yes.
What's really cool to see on a side note is we have a lot of employees that are teenagers. All of our employees are teenagers.
Are they really?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they are.
And to see David come in, know them by name, and then know them by what's going on in their life. And this guy can be with people in a way I've never seen, especially teenagers. It's quite impressive because he knows exactly what they're watching, what they're doing, and is very involved in that. And so he can have conversations that I don't know what they're talking about.
Or shouldn't have. Yeah.
Obviously, but we laugh at me because I don't know what's happening in the teenage world. But it's really impressive that you come in and he asks by name, like, what's going on with this lately? And last time I talked to you, you were doing this. What's going on with that? And just has a way of interacting with teenagers like I've never seen.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
That's cool. It really is. I can't stand teenagers.
I now have
You
15-year-olds. And I'm like, I signed up for this on purpose.
I'm always impressed by people that do youth ministry. And what's a shout out? What's your church?
So I work for the Collaborative as a faith-based suicide liaison. I'm also with different churches, so I'm not actually planted in a church. So I'm not.
Oh, you're not planted in the church.
Yeah, so
He
I
must live
attend
by
a church,
Three-Chord Meadows.
and so yeah, I
church at 3-Chord Meadows.
The church at 3-Chord Meadows.
DJ Coplion,
senior pastor. Oh gosh, he was like, "What did I just sign up for?"
Here.
Did everybody bring a beer?
Yeah, I'm gonna the church of beer. All right, okay.
Got the buckets with the ice.
I think for me, like in this whole process, like I DJ, and I said this as a coping skill for fun because I think there's such joy at weddings. And my father-in-law will say this. He's a doctor of psychology. He'll say this all the time. He said, if you want to know what people are like, attend a funeral and attend a wedding. You will know what people are like. And anytime I head to a wedding, there's always this joy. There's an abundance. Like for some reason, often a lot of like the tiffs like start to like go to the side, but we're all there for one purpose. And so for me, I talk about things that are hard. I watch people lose family members. I watch families get destroyed over stuff like suicide and mental illness. And to do weddings is to bring joy. Is to bring joy. So for me, and being in this community, working with students and seeing where they're at. And not just students, adults. You know, we know that last year in El Paso County, the coroner report's not out yet. So the estimated is that 193 people died by suicide in our community last year. Wow. And to me, that's staggering. When the average person who's at risk for death by suicide in our community is a 44-year-old white male, is the highest at risk. And so we want to talk about these ideas. Yeah, we want to discuss these ideas. And we discuss this because we don't talk about it like this, right? And so when I get to a DJ gig and I begin talking about these stories and meeting people out there, and I was like, I just do this on the side, and I happen to do this as my real job, quote unquote. I had a call yesterday. I did someone's wedding. I did his sister's wedding. And he called me yesterday about some suicide prevention and mental health resources. Wow. Because I was at the wedding and I just talked to him about what I did. I was like, I just happen to do this. Yeah. And so when I get to do it at 3-Chord Meadows and be a part of processes like this, I'm always like, there's things that we can do. And you can still have fun. And so
what
we'll do that
can
process.
we do, David? Like, what can someone do besides the hotline?
Yeah.
They're really texting my, 22-year-old kid. She doesn't know what to do. Yeah. She can give a phone number, but they're really not going to because they're just going to call their friends. Yep. Yeah. But their friends are not equipped. Yep. So what's the best thing? What advice do you give out there?
So I got two things. Number one, if you're here locally, I would say in Colorado Springs, Pikes Peak Suicide Prevention is a phenomenal resource. You can actually call them, and they have a family resource navigator. You're in that process, and they will get you the help that they need and get you connected to the resources in this community.
So if I have a friend
If you have a friend,
who
yeah,
is suicidal, like right now,
yeah, you're going to dial 988.
Okay.
You're going to dial 988. It operates like 911, but it's not 911.
Okay.
So you'll dial 988. You'll get connected to a crisis response team member. They will walk you through the resources in your community. The one caveat that you should know is if your phone number, because we're all on mobile phones now and we all have different area codes that we're from in there, is it'll try to take you to that area code of there. So let's say you have 970 Fort Collins area. Okay, it'll try to take you, but it will continuously, as quickly as possible, get to the resources that are in your community.
Okay.
And so they're working through that because that's how they make the connection, right?
And that's 24/7.
That's 24/7.
Cool.
It's available. If you're in Colorado, you can actually text the word talk to 38255. You can text the word talk to 38255 and actually get the help that you need. And when I talk about this with parents, I say, parents, if I'm you, here's what I'm asking you to do. Number one, get trained in youth mental health first aid. Find a training in your community. If you need one, reach out to Pikes Peak Suicide Prevention. They'll get it connected with me, and we'll get a training set up. Most of your school districts are doing trainings that are free and available to you at no cost. Parents get trained in that. If we're adults working with other adults, know your resources. So 988, texting the hotline. Those are all the biggest things that you would need to know. And then, of course, our local agencies like Peakview Behavioral Health or even Diversus. Everyone's had different experiences with those agencies. But here's what I'll tell you. They're there to help. They're there to help the process, and they're there to keep people alive, which I think is fascinating as we talk about what DJ and Mandy do in regards to life insurance. Many people, one of the greatest signs that we see for someone thinking about suicide is they'll try to get their affairs in order.
Oh, okay.
And they'll make sure that all their affairs are in order, and even life insurance and all these things. And those are times when we should ask these types of questions.
Sure.
Hey, while you're signing up for life insurance, I just need to ask a question as part of our protocol. Are you thinking about suicide? And then that way, like, well, no. I was like, well, because sometimes individuals that are doing this process are. And so we just want to make sure you're good because we care about you as a person.
That's awesome.
And these are things that I see countless times in stories. And the reason why I know that story is because it's an actual story that was been told to me. That I had a woman one time, and people are often like, you can't use the word suicide. It'll make someone think that. So this woman went to my training, and she emails me back, and she says, I went to your training, and thanks so much for the resources. And I was in a conversation with my friend the other day. And she was in her mid-60s. And she was like, I went to the suicide prevention training. And the friend said, I've been thinking about suicide and how it won't impact my life insurance. She had literally been thinking about this, but this person went to a training, and now there's a person alive in that process.
Yes.
And so there's so many different processes and things that we can think about. And so I just hope that we talk about it more so that we can get people help more.
Yeah.
Right on. Wow. Well, that was deep.
Yes.
So much for the laughter.
We'll get back there.
Thank
We'll
you.
get back there.
No, it's
Well,
a huge give back.
it is a very huge give back. We really appreciate that and you sharing that. What great information for our community, my friend.
It's needed.
It is. I wanted to just flip over because we only have several minutes left in the show today.
Oh, wow. That
No,
went by fast.
it did. Yeah, DJ and Mandy. I kind of was there as you emerging this idea together. Give us an update. What's happening with Lighthouse Group and how is it unfolding? What are your thoughts about it moving forward?
Well, we don't have a choice. Let's make it move forward now. We've the landscape irrigation. We've got rid of that.
You got rid of it?
Officially closed that down. So right now, I think our biggest thing is procedures to get on the health side for me to help her out a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of the two biggest things.
Things are rolling.
But yeah,
There's a lot of traction and there's
Yeah.
a lot of interest. And we knew it would take some time for people to know who we were, from just health insurance to Lighthouse Group, where we're doing a lot more things. And so we're prepared for that.
Yeah.
Definitely seeing a lot more traction on our website, which is awesome.
Good.
because
Yeah.
That is a beautiful thing. We love seeing that.
Mm-hmm.
Who did your website? I'm just curious.
Inkama.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Beautiful, and just beautiful work. And she follows up with us every month to talk about how our website stands. And I'm like,
Inkma, you're welcome, Bob.
Inkma, great job. But yeah, I mean, she's so thorough with that, and I don't understand a lot of that stuff, but I'm starting to understand it. Yeah, we're able to do a lot more things. Looking forward this year to another Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
We're going to be
Yes.
partnering with Lady Luck Restaurant out in Ellicott.
Yes,
Oh,
that's
that's
awesome.
So I think
Okay.
we're gonna really expand this year what we're able to do, and maybe have a higher goal of what we're gonna raise money for
Yeah.
the Ellicott
Yes.
Crisis Fund, and maybe
Yes.
some suicide prevention stuff.
Yes.
So maybe throwing some of that in
Yeah.
there as a recipient.
That's awesome.
But all of that comes in September, and we love to watch this thing grow.
It's fun. I went to her first one.
The
for
first one
record.
ever.
That was fun.
How long ago was that?
Probably 3 years.
3 years
3
ago.
years ago.
And then I went last year too. I just missed the one in between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give people some information on how to reach you at Lighthouse Group.
Sure. You can always reach us on our website, and that's lighthousehwg for Health and Wealth Group.
.com.
.com. That's a great way because you can message us there. You can schedule with us there. You can, our names at lighthousehwd.com.
Yeah.
That's a great way to get a hold of us.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Reach out to Mandy and DJ Copeland at Lighthouse Group. This young lady is fantastic in her space, and her and her poor husband are partner. Did I say poor husband?
And David's like, yeah,
can relate, kind of.
I can see. Yeah.
Husband are partnering to bring you some fantastic service on a space that's so needed in community. David, also with you, you're doing a lot of things, and
Yep.
yeah, you're really pivotal in our community and the work that you're doing. We can't thank you enough. How do people reach out to you?
Yeah, the best way I just let people know to connect with me is through email. I'll get back to you very quickly. I'm on it all the time, but it's just my last name. So Galvan, GALVAN .David, and then the letter J at gmail.com. And so you can definitely get a hold of me there, and I connect with everybody along the way. So it's available for you.
Yeah, fantastic work. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
my friend. We appreciate what you're doing. Lisa. Chris who? Christopher Roberts. Yeah.
Christopher! Who's that Christopher guy?
I'm
Roger
his
Matt.
biggest fan.
Christopher, you can reach ChristopherHewitt.com.
Not Christopher Robin.
Yeah.
And don't call for Pooh or Winnie Too.
This guy.
This is Christopher Roberts from Pro Media Group, who is always doing our live Facebook and our live YouTube
Yes.
on the channel here as well. Thank you, Lisa, for getting him as part of our team.
Absolutely. He came on our radio show and I never let him go since. So
Awesome.
That must have been a really good one.
Yeah.
I'm
You
gonna
got
go back.
invited back.
I'm
If you
gonna
get
go
invited-
back and listen.
Yeah, if you don't get invited back, you'll know.
I know.
Oh, wait.
I
And
know.
subscribe to our YouTube channel all together.
Yes.
What's it called?
The Be Encouraged Group.
Be
Be
Encouraged.
Encouraged show with Frank and Lisa.
No! You're
Oh,
fired.
my group, my
Our
community.
YouTube. Be
Your
Encouraged
YouTube
with
channel.
Frank and Lisa.
Oh,
That one.
that one. Oh,
That one.
Yeah. You all, your marketing team is so excited right now.
expanding hope and encouragement to our community and beyond
Yes.
as we continue to make headway, not for our sake, but for the sake of mankind. So we thank you for being a part here. Don't forget to give Family Flavors a call at 719-300-7936 and engage in all the wonderful work that this nonprofit group is doing here in the Springs on the Front Range region as well. And as always, Lisa, thank you for doing all that you do to make this happen.
Absolutely. Thank you, Frank.
Indeed.
And thank you
Thank
all
you.
again, Randy, for being our panel
Thank you
host.
so much. Appreciate it.
Yes, the Be Encouraged Show with Frank and Lisa has been here on Motivation Monday. We look forward to engaging you again next week as Lisa's bringing more fantastic humans on the scene.